Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight, we're stepping away from the noise of modern life and slipping quietly into the forgotten rhythms of the past. You'll drift through the slow mornings of a 1910s housewife, where time moved by coal fires and careful routines. Wander into the candlelit nights of William Shakespeare's London, where ink dried slowly on parchment. Sit in the silent classrooms of Oppenheimer's early academic years, surrounded not by explosions, but by chalk dust and solitude. Feel time itself measured by dripping water and melting candles in the ancient world, and finally return to the very beginning, beside a Paleolithic campfire, where humanity first learned how to rest. This is not a story of kings, wars, or great victories. This is the quiet history of ordinary lives, told softly, slowly, the way history once felt when no one was rushing anywhere. So, before you get comfortable, take a gentle moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if these deep sleep history stories help you find peace, sleep better, or simply reflect on our shared journey through time. Now, dim the lights, let your breathing slow, close your eyes, and allow time itself to fade away. Imagine this for a moment. The world is still wrapped in darkness, the kind of darkness that feels thick and unmoving, as if the night itself is reluctant to let go. There is no glowing phone screen, no digital alarm slicing through sleep. Instead, there is only silence, broken by the faint ticking of a pendulum clock somewhere in the house. Tick-tock, tick-tock. This is not a special day. This is not a holiday, nor a moment of historical drama. It is simply a Tuesday morning in the year 1912, and this is what daily life was like for a 1910s housewife. Tonight, we are not here for wars, revolutions, or famous names. We are here for the quiet details, the slow routines, the ordinary moments that once filled entire lives. So allow your breathing to slow, let your eyes grow heavy, and gently we step back into the Edwardian era, into a world shaped by coal fires, cold floors, and patience. She wakes before the sun, not because she wants to, but because the house demands it. The air inside the bedroom is cold enough to sting her lungs as she inhales. Overnight, the fire in the coal stove has gone dark, leaving the rooms hollow and chilled. She sits up slowly, wrapping a shawl around her shoulders, listening to the soft rain tapping against the window pane. Outside, the street is still asleep. Inside, the day has already begun. Her bare feet touch the wooden floor, and the cold rises instantly, sharp and unforgiving. For a brief moment, she stands still, adjusting to the shock, before slipping her feet into worn cloth slippers kept beside the bed for this exact purpose. Every movement is careful, economical, unhurried. In a 1910s daily life, there is no rush created by clocks and schedules. There is only the knowledge that many hours of work lie ahead, and that warmth must be earned. Downstairs, the kitchen waits in darkness. She strikes a match, dragging it along the rough side of the box. There is a soft scratch, then a brief flare of yellow light. The faint scent of sulfur lingers in the air. She opens the iron mouth of the coal stove and begins the ritual she knows by heart. Old ashes are scraped away with a metal tool, falling with a dry whisper into a waiting pan. The sound is dull and familiar, neither pleasant nor unpleasant, simply part of the rhythm of Edwardian housewife routine. Coal is added piece by piece. The match is held steady as she waits for the flame to catch. At first, nothing happens. Then, slowly, a glow appears, faint and uncertain. She waits. She always waits. In boring history for sleep, this waiting matters. It is the pause between cold and warmth, between night and day. Finally, the coal responds. A soft crackle fills the stove as the fire begins to live again. Water is placed on the stove to heat, not for coffee brewed at the push of a button, but for washing, for tea, for the countless needs of the day. As the kettle warms, she moves quietly through the kitchen, opening shutters just enough to let in the dim gray light of early morning. The world outside is still muted, colors softened by mist and rain. Inside, the only sounds are the gentle hiss of warming metal and the steady ticking of the clock. This is what relaxing history documentary moments are made of. No dialogue, no music, just presence. She breathes in the growing warmth, knowing it will take time for the heat to spread throughout the house. In the meantime, she prepares herself mentally for what lies ahead. Washing, cooking, cleaning. Repetition without complaint, not because it is easy, but because it is normal. By the time the first light of dawn finally touches the edges of the window, the fire is strong enough to warm her hands. She holds them close for a moment, feeling life return to her fingers. Outside, the rain continues its soft rhythm. Inside, the day has fully begun. And this is only the beginning of what daily life was like for a 1910s housewife. By the time the fire has settled into a steady, patient warmth, her thoughts drift toward a day that is not today, but never truly far away. Monday. In the 1910s daily life, Monday carries a weight of its own. Even on a Tuesday morning, when ironing should be the task at hand, the memory of washing day lingers like the faint scent of soap in the air. It is impossible to think about the week without thinking about the labor that came before it. This is how routine shapes the mind of an Edwardian housewife, not through urgency, but through repetition so familiar it becomes part of her inner clock. Laundry in the early 20th century is not an errand. It is not something squeezed between other activities. It is the central event of the household, demanding preparation, strength, and time. As she moves through the kitchen, her hands instinctively trace the steps she knows so well. The copper boiler stands heavy and waiting. Water must be hauled, poured, heated slowly over the coal stove. She remembers the way steam rises, thick and damp, clinging to the walls and her skin. In boring history for sleep, these sensations matter. The sound of water beginning to tremble before it boils, the subtle change in the room as heat and moisture soften the air. Soap does not come neatly packaged for convenience. It must be shaved by hand, the blade moving steadily across a pale block. The sound is soft but persistent, a gentle rasp that fills the quiet kitchen. Each curl of soap falls into a basin, carrying with it the faint, clean scent that signals a long day of work. She remembers how her fingers would ache slightly from the motion, how the task demanded patience more than speed. Clothes are lowered into the hot water one piece at a time. There is no machine to churn or spin. Instead, a wooden paddle stirs the fabric beneath the surface, pushing and lifting with a slow, deliberate rhythm. The water darkens as dirt releases its grip. Steam clouds her vision, turning the room into a hazy, enclosed world where time seems to move differently. This is relaxing history documentary material, not because it is easy, but because it is predictable. The mind learns to settle into the rhythm, to move without resistance. Then comes the wringer. The heavy roller's weight, silent and unyielding. She feeds each garment through with care, turning the handle as water streams out in steady, measured drops. Drip, drip, drip. The sound becomes a kind of quiet metronome. In an Edwardian housewife routine, even sound has structure. The floor beneath her feet grows damp. Her arms feel the strain, but it is a familiar strain, one that does not surprise her. As she stands there, turning the handle, she thinks not in words, but in sensations. The warmth of the room, the faint scent of soap and wet fabric, the steady ache in her shoulders. Outside, life continues at a distance. A horse-drawn cart passes somewhere down the street. A neighbor's door opens and closes. Inside, the world is contained within these walls and this work. Even now, on a Tuesday meant for ironing, the memory of Monday shapes the day. The clothes hung to dry overnight rustle faintly as air moves through the house. She will smooth them later, pressing out the last traces of labor with a heavy iron warmed on the stove. But for now, she allows herself this quiet pause. In daily life of the Edwardian era, pauses are not moments of rest so much as brief transitions between tasks. This is how days flowed for a housewife in the Edwardian era, not marked by excitement or novelty, but by cycles that returned again and again, week after week, year after year. In this repetition, there is a strange comfort. The mind knows what comes next, the body follows, and slowly, without effort, the hours pass. As the day slowly leans toward evening, the house begins to change its tone. The sharp edge of morning labor has softened, replaced by a quieter, heavier calm. In the daily life of a 1910s housewife, evening is not a moment of rest, but it carries a different weight. The fire in the coal stove is adjusted once more, not for warmth now, but for cooking. Shadows stretch longer across the kitchen floor as daylight fades, and the rhythm of the house slows to something more deliberate. Dinner does not begin with a recipe card or a list of measurements. It begins with what is available. A sack of potatoes rests in the corner. A slab of meat, modest in size, waits to be prepared. She stands at the wooden table and takes up a knife worn smooth by years of use. The sound of peeling potatoes fills the room, a soft, repetitive motion. Each strip of skin falls away with quiet certainty. This is not rushed. In an Edwardian housewife routine, speed serves no purpose. Precision and patience matter far more. The cast iron pan is placed on the stove, heavy and dark, absorbing heat slowly. A small portion of lard is added, and as it warms, it releases a gentle, familiar scent. There is a faint hiss as it melts, not loud, not demanding attention. In boring history for sleep, these sounds become anchors. They hold the listener in place, grounded in the moment. She listens without thinking, letting the noise guide her hands. Vegetables are chopped. The knife meets the cutting board with a muted rhythm. Thud, pause, thud, pause. Outside, the last light slips away, and the window reflects the interior of the kitchen back at her. For a moment, she catches her own silhouette, steady and unremarkable, framed by lamplight. This is what relaxing history documentary scenes are made of. Ordinary people doing ordinary things, unaware that their lives will one day be remembered as history. When the meal is ready, it is carried to the table without ceremony. There is no music playing, no wireless signal humming through the walls. The house is quiet in a way that feels complete. Cutlery touches porcelain with soft clicks. Chewing is unhurried. Conversation, if it exists at all, is minimal. The day has already spoken through labor. Words are no longer necessary. She eats slowly, aware of the warmth spreading through her body after hours of movement. Each bite is simple, filling, sufficient. In the 1910s daily life, satisfaction does not come from abundance, but from completion. The work of the day has been honored by this meal, modest as it is. After dinner, the table is cleared. Plates are washed by hand in warm water, the remaining heat from the stove making the task gentler than it was in the morning. The smell of food fades, replaced by the neutral cleanliness of soap and water. As dishes are stacked to dry, the house settles further into stillness. Soon, lamps are dimmed. The fire is tended one final time, adjusted to last through the night. She moves through the rooms, closing curtains, straightening small things almost without noticing. These gestures are not conscious decisions, they are the quiet punctuation marks at the end of the day. And as sleep begins to take hold, the house rests too, holding within its walls the memory of countless days just like this one. From the warm, familiar hush of a 20th century kitchen, we drift backward through time, not with a sudden pull, but with a gentle release. The sound of the coal stove fades, thinning into silence, and in its place emerges a softer texture, the faint scratch of a quill on parchment. We arrive in London sometime around the year 1600. The city is wrapped in mist, its edges softened by darkness. A single candle burns low, its flame trembling as if aware of the quiet work it illuminates. This is not the dramatic world of crowded theaters and thunderous applause. This is the private routine of a man whose daily life was shaped by patience, repetition, and ink-stained fingers. This is the calm biography of William Shakespeare, not as legend, but as a working writer at the end of a long day. He sits at a narrow table, shoulders slightly rounded, breath slow and steady. The parchment before him is not smooth or forgiving. It resists the pen, demanding attention with every line. Writing here is not an act of inspiration, but an agreement with materials that require care. The quill must be sharpened often, its tip reshaped again and again with a small knife. Every few minutes he pauses, sets the pen aside, and trims it carefully. The sound is soft, a controlled scrape. The work resumes. In the daily routine of William Shakespeare, these interruptions are not distractions, they are the rhythm. They pace the mind, slowing thought to match the movement of the hand. Ink is thick and dark, mixed by hand, its surface reflecting candlelight in a dull sheen. He dips the quill slowly, allowing excess to drip away before returning to the page. The parchment accepts the ink unevenly, each letter forming with slight variations, a reminder that nothing here is uniform. This is Elizabethan life at its quietest, where progress is measured not in pages, but in lines, and lines arrive only as quickly as the materials allow. Outside the window, London settles. The Globe Theatre has long since closed its doors. The laughter and noise of the crowd have dissolved into memory. Streets are unlit, shaped only by moonlight and shadow. Somewhere in the distance, a night watchman passes, his footsteps unhurried, his presence marked by a brief murmur and the dull sound of leather against stone. The city does not sleep completely, but it does slow, breathing more deeply as the hours stretch on. The air carries the layered scents of the river and the wood-built city. The Thames moves quietly nearby, its smell a mix of water, refuse, and damp earth. From the inns and taverns, there lingers the scent of wet oak beams and extinguished hearths. These smells drift inward, blending with the faint tang of ink and candle wax. In soft-spoken history, it is these details that matter most. They are the texture of the night, the background against which thought unfolds. He writes without hurry, aware that the candle will not last forever. The flame shortens, leaning slightly, its light pooling on the table. Shadows shift across the walls as he moves. This is not the romantic image of a genius struck by sudden brilliance. It is quieter than that. It is labor, shaped by habit and necessity. Words come slowly, tested against the resistance of parchment and the limitations of light. As the hour deepens, the work draws to a natural pause. The quill is set down, the ink is covered, the page rests unfinished, waiting for morning. In the calm biography of this night, there is no urgency to complete. Tomorrow will bring more time, more ink, more careful sharpening of the pen. For now, rest calls. He moves toward sleep not with ceremony, but with familiarity. The bed waits behind heavy curtains, its straw-filled mattress shaped by years of use. The curtains are drawn closed, holding back drafts, creating a small, protected darkness. The candle is extinguished. Darkness settles fully. And London, like the mind after a long day of work, finally grows still. As the quill is set aside and the candlelight grows thinner, the world beyond the room begins to take its turn. London at night, sometime around 1600, is a city without glow or glare. There are no lamps lining the streets, no windows shining brightly into the darkness. When the Globe Theatre closes its wooden doors, the noise of the crowd does not fade into music or distant laughter. It simply stops. Silence settles in layers, interrupted only by footsteps, breath, and the occasional call of a watchman moving slowly through the streets. This is the London that surrounded William Shakespeare when the writing stopped and the night truly began. The streets are narrow and uneven, shaped by centuries of passing feet. Timber-framed houses lean toward one another, as if sharing warmth. Their oak beams, swollen slightly from damp air, release a quiet, earthy scent that clings to the night. Moisture hangs everywhere, settling on stone, wood, and cloth. The city feels close, enclosed, breathing softly. In Elizabethan life, night does not expand outward, it folds inward. Somewhere nearby, the Thames moves through the darkness. The river cannot be seen clearly, but it is always present. Its smell drifts through the alleys and lanes, a layered mixture of water, mud, waste, and slow decay. It is not unpleasant to those who know it well. It is simply part of the city's breath. In soft-spoken history, this is not a dramatic river carrying legend and power. It is a working river, steady and patient, shaping daily life as quietly as the passing hours. A night watchman walks his route, his pace unhurried. He carries a lantern, its light small and contained, illuminating only what is immediately before him. The glow touches the ground, then disappears again as he moves on. His presence is marked by routine rather than authority. He listens more than he looks, attuned to the subtle shifts of sound that signal life still awake. A door closing, a cough from an upper window. The soft creak of wood as a building settles. His voice occasionally breaks the silence, calling out the hour, not to announce importance, but to reassure. Time is moving, order remains. After the theater, the actors have dispersed, blending back into the fabric of the city. Costumes are folded away, roles are released.
What remains are ordinary bodies navigating ordinary streets. Taverns dim their fires, oak doors swelling shut as warmth fades from within. The smell of ale and smoke lingers briefly, then thins as night deepens. In boring history for sleep, this moment matters because it is uncelebrated. No one is watching, nothing is being performed. Above the streets, windows darken one by one. Heavy shutters are drawn, curtains are pulled close. People retreat into private spaces where the world narrows to a bed, a blanket, and the sound of breathing. In the calm biography of the city, this is where history rests, not in speeches or triumphs, but in the quiet agreement to stop moving for a while. The absence of light changes everything. Shapes lose their edges, distance becomes uncertain. The mind adjusts, slowing to match the pace of the surroundings. Even thoughts feel heavier, less inclined to wander. This is why nights in Elizabethan London feel so complete. Darkness is not something to push against, it is something to accept. Somewhere behind thick curtains, a bed waits. Straw-filled or feather-stuffed, it carries the faint scent of the materials inside. The mattress yields unevenly, shaped by years of sleep. Thick hangings surround the frame, holding warmth and blocking drafts that creep through old walls. Once inside, the world shrinks to a small, protected space. The city fades further, becoming a distant presence rather than an immediate one. Outside, the night watchman continues his slow circuit. The Thames moves as it always has. Houses settle into stillness, and across London, countless lives enter the same quiet pause. This is the rhythm that held the city together, night after night. A shared surrender to darkness, a collective breath held until morning.
As the night settles fully over London, sleep arrives not as an escape, but as a natural continuation of the day. In Elizabethan life, there is no sharp boundary between waking and resting. One simply softens into stillness. Behind thick wooden walls and heavy curtains, beds wait quietly, already shaped by the weight of many nights before this one. This is where the long hours of darkness are spent, not in dreaming of greatness, but in surrendering to the body's need for rest. The bed is simple, sturdy, raised slightly above the floor to keep away damp and cold. Its mattress is filled with straw or feathers, materials that hold warmth, but never quite evenly. As one lies down, the surface yields in small, uneven ways, adjusting slowly to shape. There is a faint, earthy scent, dry and familiar, carried upward from the filling. In soft-spoken history, these details are not uncomfortable. They are grounding. They remind the body that it is supported, held, allowed to stop. Heavy bed hangings surround the frame, drawn closed to block drafts that slip through old stone and timber. Once the curtains are pulled, the space becomes smaller, quieter, more contained. The outside world recedes. Sounds that once traveled freely are muffled. The city does not disappear, but it grows distant, as if wrapped in layers of cloth and shadow. This is how calm biography becomes physical. The mind follows the body into stillness. There is no lingering light. Candles are extinguished early, not only to save cost, but because darkness is complete and accepted. Without artificial glow, the room dissolves into blackness. Shapes vanish, edges soften. The eyes close not in response to brightness, but because there is nothing left to see. In boring history for sleep, this absence of stimulation is essential. It allows thought to slow without effort. Breathing deepens. The rhythm becomes steady and unremarkable. Outside, the night watchman's call fades entirely. The Thames continues its unseen movement. Wood settles. Stone cools. The city holds itself together through silence. In this environment, sleep is not fragile. It is thick, uninterrupted, and long. Dreams, if they come, are shaped by repetition rather than novelty. The day's routines echo faintly. The scratch of a quill, the weight of parchment, the slow walk through dark streets. These impressions drift through the mind without urgency, dissolving almost as soon as they appear. There is no need to hold on to them. Morning will arrive on its own. Hours pass without announcement. Time is not measured by glowing numbers or alarms, but by the slow return of light. When dawn eventually approaches, it does so quietly, filtering through shutters and curtains, touching the edges of the room without force. Until then, the night remains whole and unbroken. This is how sleep was known in the Elizabethan era, not as a brief interruption, but as a deep pause shared by an entire city, a collective stillness that allowed bodies and minds to reset in darkness. And in that darkness, history rests, waiting patiently for the next day to begin.
The desert of New Mexico at night is vast and still. A stillness that does not press inward but opens outward, as if space itself has paused to listen. The wind moves gently through dry grasses, creating a soft, endless whisper that never quite repeats itself. In this quiet, we step away from the noise that history often prefers and into the calm academic life of J. Robert Oppenheimer, before reputation hardened into legend, when his days were shaped by thought, teaching, and long hours of solitude. This is a physics history sleep story where nothing explodes and nothing rushes, where attention settles on the smallest sounds in the slow movement of ideas. We begin not in a laboratory filled with machines, but in a classroom. Late afternoon light filters through tall windows, pale and angled, catching particles of chalk dust that drift lazily in the air. The room is quiet in a way that feels intentional. Students sit still, notebooks open, pencils resting but unmoving. At the front, Oppenheimer stands before a wide blackboard, its surface dark and matte, already marked with faint ghosts of earlier equations. He lifts a piece of chalk. It is small, fragile, leaving a fine residue on his fingers. When it touches the board, there is a soft sound. Tap. A pause. Tap again. The rhythm is unhurried. He writes slowly, carefully, long strings of symbols forming across the surface. Lines extend, curves bend gently, numbers and letters settle into place. The chalk whispers as it moves, a steady, delicate scrape that fills the room without demanding attention. In Oppenheimer's academic life, this sound becomes a companion, a quiet signal that thinking is taking shape. As the equations grow, chalk dust gathers along the ledge at the bottom of the board. Occasionally, he steps back, considering what he has written, head tilted slightly, eyes focused not on the symbols themselves, but on the space between them. The silence is not empty, it is dense with concentration. In this calm biography, the lecture unfolds without drama. There is no raised voice, no urgency. Knowledge arrives at its own pace, carried by patience. Sunlight shifts as the hour passes, warming the board briefly before sliding away. Dust motes float and resettle. A student turns a page quietly. Somewhere outside, a door closes, distant and muffled. Inside, the classroom remains steady, anchored by the slow accumulation of understanding. This is what Oppenheimer's academic life often looked like: long stretches of focus, measured by chalk lines rather than clocks. When the board fills, he erases a portion with the flat of his hand, leaving pale smears that fade gradually. New symbols replace the old. The cycle continues. Write, pause, consider, adjust. In boring history for sleep, repetition is not dullness, it is comfort. It gives the mind something predictable to follow, something gentle enough to invite rest. As the lecture nears the end, there is no clear conclusion, only a natural stopping point. The chalk is set down. Hands brush lightly against one another to remove residue. Students gather their notes quietly, as if unwilling to disturb the atmosphere that has settled over the room. The day outside continues, but here, time feels temporarily suspended. This classroom, with its dust and light and steady silence, is an important part of the story. Before isolation deepened, before the desert nights grew longer, they were hours like these. Hours defined by the soft tapping of chalk, the slow unfolding of equations, in the shared quiet of people thinking together. And as the last student leaves, the room exhales, returning to stillness, holding the faint memory of thought in the air.
When evening settles over Los Alamos, the desert does not darken suddenly. It fades. The sky stretches wide, colors thinning slowly until only deep blue remains, and then something even softer. In this quiet atmosphere, isolation feels less like absence and more like space. This is where J. Robert Oppenheimer spends many of his nights, not surrounded by crowds or conversation, but by books, lamps, and the steady rhythm of his own thoughts. This is the side of his academic life that rarely enters popular memory. Yet it is here, in these unremarkable hours, that his inner world becomes most visible. Inside a modest room, a single lamp casts a warm, contained circle of light. Beyond it, the walls recede into shadow. The air carries the faint dryness of the desert, mixed with the subtle scent of paper and tobacco. A book rests open on the table, its pages filled with unfamiliar shapes and flowing lines. Sanskrit. The ancient language sits quietly beneath his gaze, offering no urgency, no demand. Reading here is not about progress, it is about presence. Each line is taken slowly, allowed to settle before the next appears. The sound of turning pages is soft and deliberate. Paper lifts, bends, and falls back into place. There is a pause between each movement, long enough for thought to drift without effort. In a physics history sleep story, these pauses are essential. They stretch time, creating room for the mind to rest. Outside, the desert wind moves lightly across the land, brushing against the building in gentle, irregular breaths. A pipe rests nearby, already lit. Occasionally, it is lifted, then set down again. When ash gathers, he taps the bowl lightly against a glass ashtray. The sound is delicate, a quiet click. Nothing breaks the stillness. Smoke rises slowly, dispersing upward before dissolving into the dim light. This small ritual repeats without variation, a steady anchor in the long night. There is a particular kind of solitude here, one that does not feel heavy. The desert holds it gently. Los Alamos, far from cities and familiar streets, offers few distractions. There is no hum of traffic, no layered noise from neighboring rooms. Sound travels cleanly and then disappears. In this environment, thoughts do not compete with the world. They unfold at their own pace. He reads not to escape, but to connect. The Sanskrit texts speak of cycles, impermanence, and the quiet continuity of existence. These ideas do not arrive with force. They drift in, aligning naturally with the stillness around him. In calm biography, this matters. It shows a mind comfortable with silence, willing to sit with questions that do not demand immediate answers. Hours pass unnoticed. The lamp's light shifts subtly as oil burns lower. Shadows change shape on the wall. The book remains open, pages marked not by haste, but by attention. Occasionally, he pauses entirely, eyes resting somewhere beyond the text, listening to the night. The desert responds with almost nothing, a distant rustle, a soft breath of wind, then quiet again. This is the loneliness of Los Alamos, but it is not empty. It is filled with routine, with gentle repetition, with the reassurance that nothing needs to happen right now. In the academic life of Oppenheimer, these nights provide balance. They slow the mind after long days of focus, offering a different kind of discipline, one rooted in stillness. Eventually, the book is closed, the pipe is set aside, the lamp is dimmed. Darkness returns, not abruptly, but in layers. Outside, the desert remains awake in its own way, vast and patient. Inside, the room settles, holding the echo of turned pages and quiet thought. This is how the nights pass here, one after another, marked not by events, but by silence that feels complete.
Night in the New Mexico desert does not announce itself. It simply deepens. Colors withdraw quietly until the land becomes a single, continuous shade, and the sky stretches overhead without edges. Stars appear one by one, not suddenly, but with patience, filling the vastness above Los Alamos with a soft, distant light. In this stillness, the world feels reduced to essentials: space, air, time. This is where the long academic days dissolve into something slower, something that invites rest rather than thought. This is the final quiet before sleep. The building settles as temperatures drop. Wood contracts gently. Walls release the warmth they gathered during the day. Inside, movement becomes minimal, careful, almost unnecessary. A chair remains where it was last left. A book rests closed, its presence now only implied. The lamp has been turned low, its glow faint enough to feel optional. Darkness claims most of the room, leaving only shapes suggested rather than defined. Outside, the desert breathes. Wind moves across the open ground, bending dry grasses in slow, uneven waves. The sound is subtle, constant, and unhurried. It does not demand attention. It surrounds. In a physics history sleep story, this sound replaces dialogue, replaces narrative. It becomes the steady backdrop against which the mind can finally loosen its grip. There is no urgency here, no signal that something must be done. The isolation of Los Alamos at night removes the sense of expectation that often clings to waking hours. Distance from cities and roads means fewer interruptions, fewer reminders of time passing. Night stretches naturally, uninterrupted by artificial light or layered noise. Even the stars seem fixed, holding their positions without effort. Breathing slows. Each inhale draws in cool desert air, dry and clean. Each exhale releases the last tension of the day. Thoughts that once moved in lines and equations soften, losing their edges. They drift, then settle. In calm biography, this moment is not described with action.
but with absence, the absence of motion, the absence of sound beyond wind, the absence of demands. The desert has a way of holding silence without making it feel empty. It is full of distance, full of waiting. The ground beneath remains solid and unmoving. The sky remains open and endless. Between them, sleep becomes not an act, but a gradual state. Eyelids grow heavy, not because of fatigue alone, but because there is nothing left to observe. Hours pass without notice. Time is no longer segmented into tasks or study sessions. It becomes a wide, unbroken stretch. In this space, rest is deep and unfragmented. Dreams, if they arrive, are shaped by vastness rather than detail. They carry impressions of wind, of open land, of quiet persistence. As the night continues, even awareness fades. The desert remains, unchanged and patient. The room holds its stillness. The body settles fully into rest. And somewhere between the land and the sky, between thought and silence, sleep completes its gentle work. This is the quiet end of the day. This is the desert before sleep.
Time, before it was broken into seconds by ticking gears, was something felt rather than measured. It moved slowly, quietly, guided by nature instead of machines. In the ancient world, timekeeping was not about precision, it was about patience, about watching, about waiting. This is where our story gently drifts, away from hands and dials, into the soft origins of ancient timekeeping, where history of clocks, sleep stories truly begin. Imagine a temple at night along the Nile. The heat of the day has faded, replaced with cool air that settles gently over stone floors. Torches burn low, their flames steady and calm. In one corner, almost unnoticed, sits a simple device. 2 stone vessels, one placed above the other. A small hole carved carefully at the bottom of the upper bowl. Inside, water waits. This is the clepsydra, the water clock, one of humanity's earliest attempts to understand the passage of time. A drop forms at the edge of the opening. It gathers slowly, stretching under its own weight. Then it falls. Plop. A brief pause. Another drop follows. Plop. The sound is soft, rounded, almost comforting. Each drop lands below, joining those before it, raising the water level by an amount so small it can barely be seen. In water clock history, this sound is everything. There is no alarm, no sudden movement, just repetition, just flow. A priest sits nearby, not watching the clock with urgency, but with acceptance. He does not rush the drops. He does not try to speed them up. The night ritual depends on their steady rhythm. Prayers must be spoken at the right moment. Candles must be tended. Silence must be preserved. Time here is sacred, and its movement is respected rather than controlled. This is ancient timekeeping as a form of meditation, a partnership between human attention and natural flow. The temple is quiet enough that each drop seems to echo slightly before fading. Outside, the river moves in darkness, mirroring the slow descent of water inside the vessel. Inside the priest's mind, there is no need to count. He feels the passing of time through sound and stillness. In boring history for sleep, this is where the mind begins to relax. The predictability of the drops creates a gentle mental rhythm, inviting the listener to follow without effort. As the upper bowl empties, the lower fills. The transition is gradual, almost invisible. There is no moment when time suddenly changes. It simply continues. This is what makes the clepsydra so powerful for a relaxing history documentary.
It does not divide time into sharp segments. It lets time reveal itself as a continuous stream. Hours pass in this way. The torch flickers slightly, then steadies again. The priest shifts his weight once, then becomes still. Drop after drop continues its quiet journey downward. Ancient people did not experience time as something pressing against them. It surrounded them, moved with them, flowed alongside breath and heartbeat. This is the feeling we return to now, a time before schedules, before deadlines, before the need to know exactly how much time remains. Here, time is not running out, it is simply passing, gently, endlessly, like water finding its way from one vessel to another. And as the final drops fall, the vessel rests. Silence deepens. The night holds steady. Time, once again, becomes something you can drift inside, rather than something you must chase.
After water, humans turn to fire. Not the violent fire of destruction, but a gentler flame, steady and predictable, capable of marking time without sound. Candle clocks emerged quietly in monasteries, studies, and private rooms, becoming one of the most soothing forms of ancient timekeeping ever created. In the history of clocks' sleep tradition, this is where time begins to glow rather than drip. Imagine a small room at dusk. Stone walls hold the day's warmth. A single candle stands upright on a wooden table, its surface marked with faint lines carved at regular intervals. Beeswax, pale and smooth, carries a subtle honeyed scent that softens the air. The wick is lit, and the flame rises, calm and controlled, neither hurried nor weak. It does not flicker wildly, it breathes. As the candle burns, wax warms and softens, slowly surrendering to gravity. It does not rush, it does not resist, it simply melts. The flame consumes the candle at a pace that feels natural, almost reassuring. In candle clock history, this consistency is everything. Each carved line represents a passage of time, not announced by sound, but by absence. When a mark disappears, a moment has passed. There is something deeply hypnotic about watching a candle burn. The flame moves gently, leaning slightly, then straightening again. Light pools across the table, creating soft shadows that stretch and retreat without pattern. In a relaxing history documentary, these movements invite the eyes to grow heavy. Attention drifts. The mind no longer needs to track minutes. It simply rests within the glow. In monasteries, candle clocks guided prayers through the night. Monks did not listen for bells. They watched the flame descend. When the candle reached a certain mark, voices rose softly, then faded again. Time here was communal, shared in silence and ritual. The candle did not command, it suggested. It allowed human activity to align with light rather than machinery. The smell of beeswax deepens as the candle shortens. It is warm, faintly sweet, never overwhelming. This scent anchors the room, blending with the stillness. Outside, the world may move, but inside, everything slows. In ancient timekeeping, the candle clock transforms time into something visible and gentle, something that can be felt without effort. As hours pass, the flame lowers, approaching the table. Wax gathers at the base, forming small pools that cool and harden. The carved lines vanish one by one, each disappearance so subtle it can only be noticed after it has already happened. This is the opposite of ticking. It is time without interruption, time without edges. Eventually, the candle nears its end. The flame grows smaller, softer, casting a more intimate light. Shadows deepen. The room feels enclosed, protected.
In history of clocks sleep storytelling, this is the moment where wakefulness begins to loosen. The body mirrors the candle. Energy dims, breathing slows. When the flame finally fades, darkness arrives gently, not as an absence, but as a continuation. The candle clock has done its work. Time has passed without pressure, without noise, without demand. And in that quiet completion, rest feels inevitable.
Before time was trapped inside mechanisms, before it ticked and rang and demanded attention, it rested quietly in light and shadow. The sundial did not hurry the day forward, it simply revealed what was already happening. In the history of clocks, sleep storytelling, this is perhaps the gentlest form of timekeeping, where time moves only when the sun decides to move and nothing interrupts its pace. Imagine a courtyard in the ancient world, open to the sky. Stone tiles are warm beneath bare feet, having absorbed the sun throughout the morning. At the center stands a simple object, often overlooked, a flat slab of stone marked with faint lines and a single raised rod casting a thin shadow. This is the sundial. There are no numbers glowing, no hands circling endlessly. There is only light and the shadow it creates. As the sun climbs higher, the shadow shifts almost imperceptibly. It slides across the stone, not in jumps, but in a continuous, unbroken motion. If you stare at it, nothing seems to happen, and yet, if you look away and return later, the change is undeniable. This is the nature of ancient timekeeping through sundial explanation. Time does not announce itself. It reveals itself only to those patient enough to notice. People pass through the courtyard without consulting the dial obsessively. Farmers pause briefly, judging the position of the shadow with a glance. Priests note the hour of prayer by memory rather than precision. Children play nearby, unaware that time is being measured at all. In this world, time is not something you check constantly. It is something you live inside. The soundscape matches the movement of the shadow. There is no ticking, no chime, only wind moving softly across stone and cloth. Distant voices drift and fade. Birds settle, then rise again. In a relaxing history documentary, these layers of quiet create a sense of openness. The mind is not pulled forward or pushed back. It remains present. As the sun begins its descent, the shadow lengthens. Lines on the stone are crossed one by one, each crossing unnoticed in the moment it happens. The sundial does not divide the day sharply. It lets the morning become afternoon and the afternoon become evening without ceremony. This is time without urgency, time without pressure. Eventually, the light softens. The shadow stretches farther, losing definition as the sun lowers. At a certain point, the sundial stops working altogether. Twilight arrives, and the shadow dissolves into darkness. Unlike mechanical clocks, the sundial knows when to rest. It yields to night completely. In ancient societies, this acceptance of darkness shaped daily life. Work ended naturally. Movement slowed. People gathered indoors, guided not by alarms, but by fading light. In the history of clocks, sleep storytelling, this is perhaps the essential moment. It marks the moment when time stops being observed and begins to be felt. As we return from this courtyard, we carry that rhythm with us, a rhythm where time flows, melts, and fades rather than clicks, a rhythm that allows the body to slow without resistance. In this ancient way of keeping time, sleep does not feel late or early.
It simply arrives when light is gone. And just as the sundial rests at night, so does the mind. Shadows vanish, awareness softens, time releases its grip, and rest becomes natural, quiet, and complete. Under the soft glow of a whale oil lamp, a tall stack of papers waits patiently. The light does not flicker dramatically. It pools gently across the desk, revealing rows of inked figures, margins filled with notes, and columns that stretch farther than the eye wants to follow. This is not the battlefield history remembers. This is the calm, administrative world of Alexander Hamilton, where the future of a nation is shaped not by noise, but by arithmetic. In this calm sleep story, history slows to the pace of writing, adding, and careful review. Hamilton sits at his desk for long hours, shoulders relaxed but steady. The room is quiet except for the faint scratch of an iron pen against coarse paper. The sound is dry and repetitive, almost rhythmic. Each number is written deliberately. There is no rush. The financial system of a young country depends on clarity and order, and so the work unfolds line by line. Tariff revenues, customs duties, debts listed and relisted. Columns extend downward, each figure resting beneath the one before it like a careful stack of stones. He pauses often, not from uncertainty, but from habit. A finger traces the columns slowly, ensuring nothing has been skipped. Addition happens in the mind before it appears on the page. Subtraction is checked, then checked again. In colonial office work, precision is a form of discipline. There are no machines to calculate, no shortcuts to trust. Only repetition, patience, and the quiet confidence that order will emerge if the process is respected. The desk itself bears the marks of constant use. Ink stains darken the wood. Papers overlap in neat but imperfect piles. Some sheets are fresh and pale, others slightly yellowed from handling. The air carries the faint scent of paper fibers and drying ink. This sensory stillness is central to writing letters, history, and financial records alike. It slows the mind, inviting focus without tension. Outside the office, the world moves, but inside, time stretches. Hours pass, measured not by clocks, but by completed pages. When a column is finished, it is not celebrated, it is simply turned, and the next begins. This is boring bureaucracy in its purest form, and it is precisely this steadiness that makes it soothing. The mind listening to this story can follow the repetition without effort, letting thoughts soften as the numbers continue their quiet march. Occasionally, Hamilton lifts the pen and shakes it gently, allowing ink to settle. The pen returns to the page. Scratch, pause, scratch again. The sound remains consistent, a reliable companion through the evening. In calm sleep storytelling, this consistency matters. It creates a predictable pattern the body can relax into. As the stack of completed pages grows, the remaining pile shrinks almost imperceptibly. There is satisfaction here, but it is muted. The work does not seek applause, it seeks completion. The financial structure of a nation is being built silently, one sum at a time, under a lamp that burns steadily without complaint. When the eyes finally lift from the page, it is only to align the next sheet. The process resumes without interruption. Numbers continue to appear, orderly and restrained. In this quiet office,
History is not dramatic. It is careful, it is patient, and it moves forward one line at a time. As the columns of numbers finally come to rest, another task begins, one that feels slower still. Letters. Stacks of correspondence lie waiting, their edges slightly curled, each page carrying weight not through emotion, but through necessity. Under the same steady lamp, Alexander Hamilton turns from arithmetic to words, from sums to sentences, continuing the quiet work of building order through paperwork. In calm sleep storytelling, this transition matters. It signals not a change of pace, but a deepening of stillness. The pen moves differently now. Where numbers required precision, letters require consistency. The iron nib scratches gently across the paper, forming lines of text that flow evenly from left to right. The sound is familiar by now. Scratch, pause, scratch again. Ink absorbs slowly into the coarse fibers, darkening as it dries. Each letter is shaped carefully, not ornate, not hurried. Writing letters history is not about expression here. It is about clarity, record, and repetition. The air in the room carries layered scents, old paper, fresh ink, and soon something warmer. Nearby, a small stick of red sealing wax is held over a flame. The wax softens gradually, releasing a faint, resinous smell that mixes with the room's stillness. Drops form at the tip. One drop falls onto the folded envelope, then another. The wax pools slowly, glossy and thick, spreading outward in a controlled circle. A brass seal waits within reach. It is cool to the touch, heavier than it looks. When pressed into the wax, there is no sound beyond a soft, muted contact. Pressure is applied evenly. The seal is lifted. An emblem remains, crisp and centered. This action repeats again and again. Melt, drip, press, lift. In colonial office work, this ritual is as important as the writing itself. It marks completion. It signals readiness. It brings closure without ceremony. The rhythm of sealing letters becomes hypnotic. The flame flickers gently, responding to small movements in the air. Wax melts at a predictable pace. Hands move with practiced ease. There is no hurry to finish the stack. Each envelope will be sealed in its turn. In boring bureaucracy, progress is measured by repetition, not excitement. And for the listening mind, repetition becomes comfort. Letters are set aside to cool. Wax hardens, shifting from glossy to matte. The scent fades slightly, but lingers, anchoring the moment. Another letter is drawn forward. The pen resumes its quiet path. Scratch, pause, scratch again. Outside the office, the day moves toward evening, but inside, the environment remains unchanged. Light stays steady, sound remains minimal, time stretches. This administrative world does not ask for inspiration, it asks for endurance. The same phrases appear again and again. Formal greetings, clear instructions, careful signatures. In the financial system Hamilton shapes, documentation is stability. Every letter reinforces the structure laid out earlier in numbers. Every seal confirms intention. Every repetition strengthens order. As the stack slowly diminishes, there is no dramatic sense of accomplishment, only a gradual easing. The desk clears by degrees. Space opens where paper once lay. The lamp continues to burn, patient and reliable. This is the quiet triumph of bureaucracy.
It finishes not with applause, but with silence. When the final letter is sealed, it is placed gently atop the others. Hands rest briefly on the desk, not in exhaustion, but in pause. The room holds the echo of melted wax and dried ink. In this calm sleep story, that echo is enough. The work has moved forward. The night can continue.
The work does not end with a final flourish. It fades. In the administrative rooms of the late 18th century, completion arrives quietly, without ceremony. The desk is cleared slowly, not at once. A pen is laid down. Papers are aligned into a single neat stack. The brass seal is returned to its place, cool again after the warmth of melted wax. Under the steady glow of the whale oil lamp, the office of Alexander Hamilton settles into a stillness that feels earned. Light softens as the lamp is adjusted. The flame lowers, becoming smaller, more intimate. Shadows expand across the walls, smoothing the room's edges. The scent of beeswax and ink lingers faintly, no longer active, just present. This is the moment where colonial office work yields to rest, where writing letters history pauses, and where the financial system built through numbers and seals can stand on its own for the night. Chairs are pushed in with care. The floor creaks once, then holds. Windows remain closed, keeping out the evening air. Outside, distant sounds drift and disappear, but they do not intrude. Inside, the office maintains its quiet. Time stretches, no longer measured by columns completed or letters sealed, but by the slow dimming of light. The desk now shows its true surface. Wood grain emerges where paper once lay. Ink stains are visible, dark and permanent, records of hours spent in concentration. These marks are not cleaned away, they belong here. In a calm sleep story, such details reassure the mind. They suggest continuity, a place that will look the same tomorrow, ready to receive work again without surprise. The lamp burns lower. Oil level drops imperceptibly. The flame remains steady, refusing to flicker dramatically. This steadiness mirrors the day that has passed. No interruptions, no sudden changes, just a sequence of small, deliberate actions completed in order. In boring bureaucracy, this predictability is the reward. Eventually, the lamp is turned down further. Darkness approaches gradually, not as an absence, but as a soft cover drawn across the room. The desk recedes into shadow. The papers lose definition. The seal's outline fades. The office becomes less a place of work and more a quiet container holding the memory of effort. This is the end state of administrative labor, not exhaustion, but calm, not urgency, but pause. In the calm biography of paperwork, this silence is as meaningful as the hours of writing that preceded it. It confirms that the system functions even when unattended, that order persists without constant attention. As the door closes gently, the room remains unchanged. It waits. In this stillness, time itself seems to rest, free from measurement, free from demand. The listener can rest too, following the same descent into quiet, letting thoughts slow and settle. The office has done its work. The night takes over. And with that, the story of numbers and letters dissolves into silence, complete and undisturbed. And finally, we return to the beginning, tens of thousands of years ago, before rooms and papers and lamps,
Before clocks and letters and systems, the world was forest, stone, and sky. In this prehistoric relaxation story, daily life slows to its most basic motions. There are no schedules here, no written plans, only hands, stone, and patience. This is Paleolithic daily life, where time is shaped by repetition and rest arrives naturally. At the mouth of a cave, light from the low sun spills across the ground. It does not rush, it settles. A figure sits on the earth, legs drawn close, a piece of flint resting in the palm. Another stone is raised slowly, not in anger, not in haste, but with familiarity. The motion is careful, measured. When stone meets stone, the sound is clear and dry. Clack. A pause. Clack. Again. Each strike removes a thin flake, revealing a sharper edge beneath. This is knapping, the ancient craft of shaping tools, and it is not fast work. It demands attention without tension. The hands know where to strike, guided by experience rather than instruction. Hours can pass this way. Clack, pause, clack. The rhythm forms naturally, steady enough to quiet the mind. In a campfire ambient sleep story, this sound becomes a lullaby, simple and grounding. Small shards fall to the ground, collecting near bare feet. They glint briefly in the fading light, then lose definition as shadows lengthen. There is no conversation to accompany the work. Language, as we know it, has not yet arrived. Communication happens through presence, through shared silence, through the understanding that this task will continue until it is complete. The body remains relaxed. Shoulders do not tense. Breathing stays even. This is not labor driven by urgency. It is preparation woven into daily life. Tools will be used tomorrow and the day after. There is no need to hurry their creation. In caveman sleep routine storytelling, this patience matters. It allows effort and rest to exist side by side. The sound of napping blends with the environment. Wind moves through trees. Birds settle for the evening. Somewhere deeper in the cave, others shift quietly, arranging hides or adjusting the fire. But here, the focus remains on stone and hand. The repetition continues, unbroken by thought. Clack, pause, clack. Each sound marks progress without measuring time. As the sun lowers, the light changes. Edges soften. The tool takes its final shape. It is not perfect, but it is sufficient. The hands turn it once, testing the edge, then set it aside. There is no sense of completion beyond readiness. The task ends when it needs to end. This simplicity is the foundation of prehistoric relaxation. Work flows into rest without transition. The body recognizes when to stop. There is no signal, no alarm, just a natural shift. The hands release the stone. The muscles loosen. Attention drifts outward toward the coming night. As darkness approaches, the sound of napping fades. Silence returns gently, filled only by the surrounding world. This is where the rhythm slows further, preparing the way for warmth, fire, and sleep. The first chapter of human routine closes here, not with an ending, but with continuity. Stone returns to earth, hands return to stillness, and the mind, listening now, can follow the same path, settling into calm.
The darkness settles fully over the forest. The cave entrance becomes a frame for flickering light. A fire burns low at the center of the space. Not large, not dramatic, but steady and alive. This is the heart of Paleolithic daily life at night.
There are no words exchanged here that need to be remembered, no stories told with structure, only presence, only warmth, only the quiet assurance that the group is together. In a caveman's sleep routine, this moment matters more than any task completed during the day. The fire speaks in its own language. Small pops rise as sap burns away from branches. A soft crackle follows, uneven and gentle. Flames bend and straighten, responding to unseen currents of air. Light moves across stone walls, creating shapes that appear and disappear without meaning. No one interprets them. No one needs to. In prehistoric relaxation, observation replaces explanation. Bodies gather around the warmth. Some sit, some lean back against the rock. Others lie down already, wrapped loosely in animal hides. The hides smell faintly of earth and smoke, familiar and comforting. Heat reaches skin gradually, never overwhelming. The contrast between cool night air and firelight creates a balance that keeps the body calm and alert, but not tense. Outside the cave, wind moves through trees, producing a low, continuous sound. It does not interrupt the fire, it joins it. Together, they form a layered ambiance that fills the night. Occasionally, a distant animal calls, then fades again into silence. No one reacts sharply. These sounds are part of the environment, expected and accepted. In a campfire ambiance sleep story, this acceptance is key. It allows the nervous system to settle fully. There is no strict boundary between waking and resting here. Some eyes remain open, following the movement of flames. Others close briefly, then open again. Breathing slows across the group, unconsciously synchronizing with the rhythm of the fire. The day has ended, not because a clock declared it so, but because light has faded and bodies feel ready. Hands rest on the ground. Fingers curl naturally. Muscles release tension built during movement and work. There is no anticipation of tomorrow, no planning. The present moment is sufficient. This is the deepest form of relaxation, one that does not need instruction. As the fire burns down further, flames shorten. Embers glow red beneath ash, pulsing softly. The crackling becomes quieter, less frequent. Heat remains, but light dims. Shadows deepen, pressing gently against the edges of awareness. In prehistoric nightly routines, this is the signal without sound. The body understands what comes next. The group settles more completely. Someone shifts, then becomes still again. The hides are adjusted once, then left alone. Breathing grows deeper, slower. The cave holds the warmth, the sounds, the shared presence. Safety is felt rather than thought. This is where sleep begins, not as an action, but as a state that emerges naturally. The fire continues to glow, the wind continues to pass, and one by one, awareness softens, releasing the day entirely. The campfire has gathered everyone, and now it releases them into rest.
Now there is nothing left to do. The fire has burned down to a quiet glow, embers pulsing slowly beneath a thin layer of ash. The cave is warm, but not hot. Cool air settles gently along the ground, while heat lingers closer to the walls. This balance creates comfort without effort. In this final moment of Paleolithic daily life, sleep does not need to be invited. It arrives on its own. Bodies turn inward, knees draw closer to chests, arms fold naturally. Animal hides are pulled up and adjusted once, then left alone. The hides are thick, worn smooth by time, carrying the faint scent of smoke, earth, and fur. Beneath them, the ground is firm and cool, grounding the body completely. This contrast, warmth above and cool below, signals safety to the nervous system. In a caveman sleep routine, this sensation is everything. Breathing deepens. Each inhale is slow and quiet, each exhale longer than the last. The sound of breath blends seamlessly with the environment. It is no louder than the wind outside the cave, no more noticeable than the soft settling of embers. There is no individual rhythm anymore. Breaths begin to synchronize, forming a shared, gentle pattern that fills the darkness. Eyes close without decision. Awareness softens at the edges. Thoughts, if they appear at all, are brief and without shape. There are no images demanding attention, no memories pulling backward or forward. Only sensation remains: warmth, weight, stillness. The fire continues its slow transformation. A final ember shifts, releasing a faint glow before dimming again. The crackling has stopped. Sound now exists only as absence. The cave holds this silence easily. It has done so for generations. In prehistoric relaxation, silence is not empty, it is protective. Outside, the forest moves through the night. Leaves stir, wind passes, but these sounds are distant, softened by stone and distance. Inside, the body recognizes that it is enclosed, sheltered, watched over by the group even in sleep. This shared presence allows complete release. Muscles loosen further, jaw unclenches, hands relax fully against the ground. Time no longer has meaning here. There is no morning to prepare for, no schedule waiting. Sleep stretches without boundary. It is not shallow, it is deep and uninterrupted. The kind of sleep that does not end suddenly, but gradually, when light eventually returns. In these final minutes, nothing new happens, and that is the point. The screen can fade to black. The sound can thin until it disappears entirely. The listener does not need guidance anymore. The body knows what to do. This is how humans slept for tens of thousands of years, without clocks, without noise, without effort. Curled close to warmth, grounded by earth, breathing in rhythm with others. This is the first sleep, and it is enough.